because US President Joe Biden says that his motivation to run for a second term is because former President Donald Trump is making another bid for the White House. Biden told reporters, "We can't let him win," when asked about Trump, who remains the Republican frontrunner despite all of those ridiculous federal and state charges out there. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
Would you be running for president if Trump wasn't running?
I expect so, but look, he is running, and I have to run.
Would you drop out if Trump runs out?
No, not now.
Not now. It doesn't get any better, does it? Joining me now, though, is former aide to President Donald Trump, the one and only Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Sebastian, welcome to the Independent Republic. Sleepy Joe there, obviously blinded by the lights coming off the press and TV cameras. Why is he suddenly piping up that he wants to stop Donald Trump?
Well, it's a very good question, Mike. Greetings. It's because they're desperate. I don't know if you followed what happened at the weekend.
Yeah.
No less than 4 different periodicals, the whole editorial board of the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Atlantic had a whole issue, and there was an article from Robert Kagan as well. It's as if the Central Committee gave out the talking points, and the talking points were thus. Donald Trump's re-election by the American people would lead to a dictatorship, and we have to stop him to save democracy. Now, I'm not joking. If you don't believe me, look it up. I've posted them on my web page, on my social media at Seb Gorka, on Twitter, on Truth Social. So here's the logic. Bear with me, Mike.
Yeah.
The American people choosing to democratically re-elect President Trump is a threat to democracy. That's what these lunatics are saying. And it's very dangerous language because the likes of Liz Cheney and others who detest President Trump are right now giving interviews calling him a fascist, a proto-Nazi, and a Mussolini. That language, Mike, and it's not just me, it's Democrats like Alan Dershowitz, the renowned emeritus professor of law at Harvard, are saying this is preparing the groundwork for somebody to try and kill President Trump. Why? Because if he's a Nazi, if he's a dictator, well, surely that's what should happen. That's the fire that the left is playing with right now.
Because they've obviously worked out that this myriad number of allegations and charges and indictments, which are in the 90s, I think now, are not really going anywhere, right?
If you look at every single, the president is now facing 730 years in prison, 4 sets of indictments. Yeah, no, I mean, you have to laugh. I mean, otherwise you're going to cry. Right. 91 indictments, 91 charges in 4 separate baskets of indictments from Atlanta to New York. The various judges, lunatics like Engeron in New York, like Chutkan. Judge Chutkan, a federal judge in this stinking city, Washington, D.C., who's running the trial on January the 6th against President Trump, just happens to have been a partner in the same law firm for 12 years with Hunter Biden.
Oh, really?
President Biden. Yes, President Biden. It's a strange coincidence, isn't it? These people don't realize every time they bring up a specious, fallacious, transparently manufactured charge, what happens to President Trump? President Trump is now up to 60 points ahead of any other challenger on the right, including Ron DeSantis, and he's beating Biden in 5 of the 6 swing states. They know Biden can't beat him, so they've got to bang the drum of dictatorship. But look, most Americans see through this and they realize this is bunkum, Mike. Bunkum.
Well, this is the trouble, isn't it? Because he is like one of those characters in a film. The more they try and kill him, the bigger he gets, the stronger he gets, and it's almost like they just don't know what to do anymore, and so they just have to get ridiculously stupid.
Well, look, this is, I say that they are hostages to their own ideology and their hatred. If you're a patriot, whether you're a Brit, whether you're an American, you are fueled by love of country, love of tradition, love of God. These people, they don't believe in the country, they hate the country. Yeah. They don't believe in God, and they hate themselves. And hate, Mike, you know, you've lived in America, hate only gets you so far. If you're a rabid leftist, this is why they look at talk radio. Look at what you and I do, right? For 3 hours a day, I've got a national show. You've got your amazing Independent Republic. The left, The left has tried time and again to take over talk radio,
Yes.
and they can't. They can't, because you don't want to listen to somebody spew bile for 3 hours a day. That's who they are, Mike, and that's
but of course, and you're quite right, because that's what they accuse us of doing. You know, I had some maniac on Twitter the other day basically accusing me of causing all the problems in the country. I'm like, yeah, so it's all my fault. I'll put my hands up. And we saw it today, Boris Johnson appearing in front of the COVID inquiry. And the COVID inquiry was entirely set up by Ramonas to basically give him a hard time and make out that everything was his fault. Don't blame China. You know, when one of the government ministers tried to raise the subject of the Wuhan lab leak, which people have now almost entirely accepted as the reason why it happened, despite the fact that they denied it when Donald Trump said it, suddenly they didn't want to talk about that. Oh, no, that's not in the scope of the inquiry, they said. Let's not mention China because it must be all Boris Johnson's fault.
We live... And this is, worthy of several PhD dissertations, Mike. We live in the perversest of times in Western civilization, in the UK and America, where the elite that run the country detest not only their own countries, but detest their civilization. That's the truth. And that's why we need Nigel back. That's why we need my old boss, President Trump, back. Because guess what? I don't care about mean tweets or Nigel's, love of a cigarette and a pint of beer. They love their country. And that's what most Brits and Americans get. That guy, Trump, that guy, Farage, loves their country. And look, if that's populism, give me more populism.
Well, I mean, it's only really in relatively recent times, isn't it, that the word popular is apparently a bad thing. You know, in my estimation, being popular is actually a good thing. But for these bozos who hate their country and hate anybody who loves the country, for them, being popular is somehow a negative because they've been reading The Guardian for so long. They've got an abacus that's upside down, But let's have a look at Donald Trump, because he was speaking to Sean Hannity a little earlier on this week, in which I think there was a bit of tongue-in-cheekery going on. Let's have a look. Have we got it?
They want to call you a dictator. You use the words, I am your retribution. And now before that, you said if you've been wronged, and you used other words as well. But I want to be very, very clear on this. To be clear, do you in any way have any plans whatsoever, if reelected president, to abuse power, to break the law, to use the government to go after people?
You mean like they're using right now?
Anybody.
Except for day one.
Except what?
He's going crazy. Except for day one.
Meaning?
I want to close the border, and I want to drill.
That's not.
I mean, and the cheer goes up because, everybody gets it. The people who get it.
It's a joke.
Yeah, of course.
Joke, Mike. That everybody in the poor Sean, wet his pants there, but everybody in the audience laughed, realized it was a joke. And you know what it's been like for the last 18 hours in America? It has been delicious. Just that 20-second clip has made the collective cranium of every libtard explode. Oh my gosh, he is a dictator!
Yeah.
And what did he say? He said, yeah, I'll be a dictator because I'm going to close the border. That's a great idea. Yeah. And I'm going to allow people to frack and bring us energy independence again. It's like somebody saying, okay, no more boat people across the channel, and we're going to have North Sea oil again. What a dictator, Mike.
Yeah, but that's exactly what they would say here. They would be absolutely up in arms and be marching in the street, shouting "Free Palestine" and "Get rid of Boris." I mean, that's what they'd be doing. But that's where we are. Listen, I know you've got to run, so I'm going to cut it short this week. But Seb, good to see you.